The history of food in the United States is quite complicated. America is known as a melting pot where many different cultures and ways of life come together, creating a wide variety of cuisines. However, it might surprise you to know that America hasn't always had such a diverse food scene. If you go back a few decades, you wouldn't recognize the food people ate. Food culture, no matter where you come from, has changed over the years. It has affected how we eat, cook, store, and get our food. Mass production of farming and processed foods has also changed our eating habits. Fast food, chain restaurants, and easy dining options weren't always available, especially before the 20th century. But even though food has changed in appearance and availability, there's still something special in every dish throughout history. If you want to learn more about the delicious food people enjoyed in 19th century America, keep reading about some popular foods from the Wild West. Pemmican is a type of food that was used a long time ago in the Great Plains of America. It's made from fat, dried meat, and sometimes dried berries. People ate it either on its own or with other food. It was a crucial source of energy and a common food at gatherings. The indigenous Plains tribes in North America are believed to have invented pemmican, but we're not sure exactly when. They usually made it using meat from animals like bison, moose, deer, and elk. I'll explain it from the perspective of Native American buffalo hunters. These hunters used different tactics to catch buffaloes, like driving them into snowy areas or trapping them in canyons. Some chased buffaloes off cliffs, while others waited for them to cross rivers or bathe in lakes. There was also a method called a buffalo jump, where they butchered buffaloes like an assembly line. When they butchered buffaloes, they quickly removed the hide and stomach contents to prevent spoilage. The first parts they took from the buffalo were its tongue and various internal organs. They didn't waste these, instead, they turned them into special dishes. They also smashed the bones to get the marrow, which was both tasty and nutritious. The buffalo meat was similar to other meats, with a lot of water in it. So, they had to cut it into pieces and dry it to make it lighter for carrying. They dried it by laying it flat in the sun and then hanging it over a fire with smoke to help preserve it. Preserving the meat was essential for pemmican, which was used for long-term storage by Plains tribes. Once the meat was dry, they crushed it into a powder using stones or blunt objects. Then, they added buffalo fat or tallow and sometimes bone grease. Some tribes added wild berries like choke cherries, Saskatoon berries, cranberries, or blueberries, while others only used them for special occasions. They stored the final pemmican mixture in large bags made from buffalo hides, which could hold over 100 pounds of pemmican. These large bags were used after horses became available for transportation. Pemmican eventually spread beyond the plains, mainly through the Canadian fur trade. During the 19th century fur trade, pemmican was vital for fur traders traveling through the northern plains. They learned about its value from local plains tribes and carried enough to sustain them during their journeys. Pemmican was so important that it even led to a war in 1814 when its exports were stopped from the Red River Colony. Pemmican played significant roles in historical expeditions and wars, providing food for explorers like Alexander Mackenzie and North Pole adventurer Robert Peary. Today, it's still part of the diets in indigenous communities in the United States and Canada. People enjoy it as a special food, a regular meal, and during ceremonies, just like they did in the 19th century on the Great Plains. Moving from Native American food to pioneer food, we have something called hardtack. It's a simple type of food from the Wild West. It's a bit like pemmican, good for long journeys and storing for a long time. But it's different because it's really simple to make and doesn't taste like much. To make hardtack, you mix flour, water, and salt to make dough. Then you roll it out and cut it into squares. You bake it a few times until it's very hard. To eat it, you have to soften it by dipping it in liquid or frying it. In the 1700s, people used hardtack to thicken soups in some places. During wars like the Civil War, soldiers tried to make it taste better. They turned it into a kind of pudding if they had sweet things to add. Hardtack was made to last a long time, so it was great for travelers in the Wild West. People on the Oregon Trail, in mining camps during the California Gold Rush, and during the Civil War relied on it, even though they didn't like how it tasted or how hard it was. Today, some people still make hardtack, especially in places like Alaska where it's useful for survival. but now they use different ingredients to make it taste better. It's a reminder of simple and sustaining food from the Wild West.